Well, been a while since I've spoken about, GMOs, Monsanto, also known as Monsatan, naturalhealth365.com. Among the many grave concerns about GMO crops from seeds manufactured by companies like Monsanto is that they are causing the development of something new called super weeds. Now, before I continue, you ever hear of a virus or something and it, for example, the flu, or better yet, forget the flu. You got something, you got to take antibiotic for it. Take it. Doctor, it's not going away. Well, it's probably become immune to the antibiotic, because it's like a virus. It just, about to say illusion. No, evolution of this virus or, sickness, whatever you have. It's gotten used to the antibiotic. It's no longer effective. I'm going to put you on a different type of antibiotic. Oh, okay. And that works for a while. And then, okay, it's used to that one. So in other words, the virus, the organism, whatever it is adapting and changing automatically. Who would have ever thought that spraying a genetic altering compound onto some other genetic material that changed the DNA of it, thus killing it, that item could not evolve, so to speak, and no longer, and essentially become immune to what you're spraying on it. I would have thought of that very easily. I'm sure a whole lot of people thought about that. So now what do we do? Now that these weeds, get Monsanto, it'll kill all the weeds. Roundup, whatever, Roundup ready stuff. Wait a minute, it's not killing them off now. Oh, that's because it's become immune to your other poison. Which means what? You need the super deluxe edition of Roundup in order to kill the super weeds. But try our first product, the other one first. That way we can make some money off of that. And if that doesn't work, try the super powerful deluxe version. That should do it. And if that doesn't, we'll give you a refund. So, causing the development of superweeds. This farming disaster is largely due to the overuse of the weed killer glyphosate. Glyphosate, which is the it's a man-made ingredient of the popular Monsanto product known as Roundup. These weed killers are specially formulated. Hold on. Let me change that sentence. You ever hear the commercial? Try our baby formula, specially formulated for a healthy young lad. Oh, they got one too from Monsanto. These weed killers are specially formulated to pair with genetically modified seeds made by the same company, made to be resistant and unaffected by them. However, as the weeds have gotten stronger and more resilient, Monsanto has had to make its herbicide products stronger as well, adding a chemical called dicamba or disamba. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. Monsanto is to blame as weed resistance increases and more herbicides are required. Wonder if that was in Monsanto's business model all along. All of our studies show that these weeds and things we're killing off become stronger, more immune to our product, which requires more of our product, which means bigger, badder sales, just like the pharmaceuticals. If I can get one more vaccine into the vaccine schedule, we stand to make $30 billion. And I've said this a million times before. What was the vaccine schedule in the 1950s, 60s, 70s? I was a late 70s baby, okay? Literally a handful. One shot for chickenpox, one for measles, done. Now, over 24, and as I said last year, I believe it was last year, or was it early this year? They added 3 new vaccines to the schedule. 30 billion, 60 billion, 90 billion. Cha-ching, give me my money. Monsanto, they're going to have to spray more of our product. Cha-ching, give me my money. The rest of us, not cha-ching, that's a reverse cha-ching. So in other words, a ching-cha. Give me my cancer. Give me my cancer, thank you. So where was I? However, the weeds have gotten stronger and more resilient. Monsanto has had to make its herbicide products stronger as well, adding a chemical called dicamba or disamba, glyphosate, and the weed killer products that contain it have faced quite a bit of controversy lately, and with good reason. The cancer research arm of the World Health Organization has linked the compound glyphosate with cancer in humans and other living beings. Dicamba is largely untested and not yet approved for use in the United States. Oh, not yet. Not yet it ain't. Wait till the club calls up. Hey, FDA, listen. Oh, that's not going to work? Let's get the old Monsanto lawyer back out because he likes to go there, FDA, wherever, make some changes in the law so Monsanto can come in, leave and go back to be a lawyer. Oh, we need some new changes. Let me go back into there. I know all the board members here, all you committee members don't want to do this, but I'm the top guy. We're going to do it anyways. I know best. I'm a lawyer, for God's sakes. Oh, you're definitely qualified to be figuring out DNA modifying chemicals in our water and our food and plants. You are a lawyer? Oh, you are absolutely the man. Yeah, sure. Of course, no surprise, Monsanto is pushing forward. Despite adequate safety testing, a new Roundup Ready product by one of the club's main companies, here it goes. A new Roundup Ready product made by the DuPont company called Fexapan is a herbicide that contains both glyphosate and dicamba. This allows it to work with GMO crops like Monsanto's soybeans, which were engineered to be resistant to glyphosate and dicamba. Monsanto is ramping up production and expectation for this product, investing over $1 billion in a new production facility in Louisiana. 1 million acres of the genetically altered soybeans have been planted in the U.S. this year, with plans to plant 15 million acres next year and 55 million acres of soybeans by the year 29. That's our model, our growth model, folks. How's it look? Oh, great, fantastic, profits, good deal. CEO, give yourself a raise. President, give yourself a raise. Hold on, FDA, whistleblower, vaccine, remember that guy? Last year, we already talked about this, the documentary Vaxxed. We destroyed evidence that linked the MMR shot to autism. Wonder if they're going to fudge any paperwork that says, oh yeah, these genetically modified foods cause like all kinds of problems. In laboratory animals, they've already shown to do so, especially in rats. You are being attacked from all fronts, all sides, everywhere, from your water to the food you eat that you just go to the grocery store and buy, to the food that's being planted before it's even food, crops being planted. Looks like a kernel of corn. I mean, it looks like a corn stalk. It looks like soybeans. I mean, yeah, but that one's genetically modified. That one's not. Oh, well, I can't really tell looking at them. No, but the DNA structure of this one has been significantly changed, and the one over there has not. It's been around since, beginning of time. I think I'd rather go with something that's been around since the beginning of time than something that's been, recently created by some mad scientists. Thank you, but no thanks. Glyphosate linked to cancer and the effects of dicamba are largely unknown. This acceleration is taking place despite the fact that glyphosate is being connected to cancer. Numerous European countries have expressed fears about this substance, but the U.S. is lagging behind in demanding action against its use. As the use of GMO crops along with herbicides rises, the growth and proliferation of superweeds will only increase as well. These weeds will inevitably become resistant to both glyphosate, and dicamba, which means what? There'll be a third thing they got to now add in there. And then what happens when that one's been figured out by the weeds? Then there's going to be a fourth one, and then a fifth one. All the while, well, it's resistant, which, more modification to that food item. It's incredible. You have to become your own expert. You have to be your own expert in everything. Again, from water to the food you eat to the stuff you put on your skin. Oh, it's just suntan. It's just suntan lotion. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Is it? Look at it. Oh, that's just a sunblocker. Let me get. Whoa. Wait a minute. What's in there? We put on your skin. Oh, deodorant. I've always used. Oh, wait a minute. What's in the deodorant? Everywhere you freaking look. Is it any surprise why cancer rates don't come down, don't even, level out? They just keep going up in a way. Just like autism used to not be in existence, then it was 1 out of 10,000 people would get it. Now it's 1 out of 50. Cancer, same story, 1930s. It was almost non-existent prior to that. Very, very few cases. 1 out of, I think they said, from the 1930s, if I recall from this documentary, it was like 1 out of 35 people would get it, I think, way back in the day. Yeah, cancer. And then it came down. By the year 2000, it was 1 out of 3. And that was when the documentary, that's all the data they had. Okay, well, that's 16 years ago. I wonder what it is now. 1 out of 2, 1 out of 1. In other words, everybody's going to get it. And again, it's at some point in your life will you get cancer was the study. Believe it or not, people used to die from like old age and other reasons not related to cancer at all. These days, cancer is becoming the #1 killer. I wonder if eating all these GMO foods with the pesticides, Roundup, all that stuff is really going to help cancer go away or make it come, with a vengeance. And remember, they're spraying crops with this crap, this DNA altering crap. It's altering the DNA, and that's what kills the plant, the weeds. So they're spraying that on the ground with the weeds and the plants, because remember the crops are Roundup ready. Just spray the whole field and you're good to go. Well, last time I checked, when it rains and it hits the plants and the ground and the trees, whatever, it goes to the ground, then ground goes down. There's something called groundwater. There's also something called aquifers, and ultimately it's going to get down there. Then what? Now I think I know why old T. Boone's Pickens, whatever his name is, bought a huge stake in the water and land where there's a aquifer under it, I think in Texas, years ago. I think it's starting to make sense why. As I've said, along with your survival items as far as food storage, your weapons, guns, protection, precious metals, I've had to add a fourth one. Filter your freaking water like you've never filtered it before, and the only way to do it properly, to get it down to that fine of filtering, is reverse osmosis. You can get a little cheap 3 filter units, or you can get which would be a 3-stage, or you can get a 4 or 5-stage. I went on eBay, type it in, 5-stage reverse osmosis, and I found one that had some kind of nutrient filter, which might have been, I don't know if that's even counted as a stage or not, but nonetheless, it puts nutrients back in the water because it strips out so much of the crap in the water, you're getting less nutrients out of the water. However, even when I had the old reverse osmosis system, which was 3-stage, I couldn't tell. Now I have a 4 or 5-stage now. I still can't tell. All I know is I'm very satisfied with the job it does. So, one other thing, just read a story. Everything south of Lake Okeechobee, Florida, which is like one of the most massive lakes ever, they're showing that there's a 35% increase in cancer rates to people below that lake. Miami, all that stuff. And they're also saying, well, we can't really link it yet, but we do know that there's chemicals and stuff being put into those waterways that are deemed safe by the FDA and the Florida State, Environmental Health Agency, whatever. But above that lake, they don't have those many chemicals going into the water supply. But that lake and below, they do. Sounds like a pretty obvious answer. You're putting crap in the water, and people are getting cancer because we're drinking it. Again, you've got to take all matters into your own hands. And I remember when our twins were born, wife don't want to get vaccines. I'm like, all right, but I'm thinking, what about the chicken pox? What, measles? I mean, we don't get vaccines. Oh my God, This is back in 2006, February. In other words, I was barely cracking away from being a sheep. And at the last minute, we're down there, and the doctors are scaring the living shit out of me. No, all right, just do it. Go ahead and do the shot, MMR. My wife's like, no, we shouldn't do it. And I was like, no, let's just do it. It's just we'll stop after this one. We do it. The kids get sick immediately. We have twins. They got it at the same time. They both got sick. Doctor, a few days later, doctor's office. Yeah, hey, listen, our kids are sick, high fevers, and well, we have a question though. They were fine up until we gave them the shot. 3 days ago or whatever. That's just a coincidence. It's both of them being sick at the same time. My wife and I not being sick. Yeah, just a coincidence. Who the hell am I to question the expert? Doctors. They know better. Or do they? No, they don't. When Ashley was born, 0 shots. 0. No shots. You want to know something funny about that? Or interesting? When our whole family gets sick, one passes it to the other. We all get sick like you expect. Sometimes we're laid up in bed, feeling terrible. When Ashley gets sick, she's down there playing on the floor with toys and, coughing, snot, whatever. None of my other kids want to play. They want to lay in bed. My twins, they want to lay in bed. They're sick. They don't feel good. They're maybe, watching TV on the couch, feeling sick. Ashley, you would almost not even know she's sick because her immune system has not been harmed by that poison known as vaccines. So here's another thing we have to look out for. The poisoning of the land, poisoning of the water supply, thanks to Monsanto. And I'm going to end this video by reminding you of something that John Teeter, supposed time traveler dude, said in around the year 2000, before he supposedly left. He gave this huge story, big question and answers. And I always thought to myself, for someone to just make all this up, some of the most important stuff that we see today that wasn't even visible back then, why would he even bring that up when no one's even asking him about it? He's just saying it. There's something to it, is why. And one of the things he said, just kind of out of nowhere, was about genetically modified foods, crops. And his comment was something along the lines of, yes, in the future we no longer use that stuff. Who would have ever thought of such a stupid idea? Or something like that was how he commented. What a dumb idea. Who would have ever thought of something so stupid? We do not use those in the future. Okay, I'm sorry, no one really asked you about that. But he said it. And all of a sudden, over the year after year after year nowadays, that stuff is becoming more and more prevalent. People are trying to fight it up. They got billions in advertisements. Sorry, California, that bill's not going to be law. They beat you to it. Up over here, FDA, are you going to look into this? Have you done any testing? Nope. Their word's good enough. We'll go ahead and pass it. Other countries, less regulation than ours, believe it or not. There's no question at all. Just you put whatever you want over here. Some countries, on the other hand, are waking up and don't allow that crap in their country. But sadly, ours does, because it comes from here in our country, and the club owns it. And what the club owns, the club does what it wants, gets any laws passed. Anybody standing in the way will be absolutely steamrolled. Take care.